What is up, guys? Zach in here, and in today's video, I want to give you a complete breakdown of exactly how to SMS text blast with SMSZach.com. It is the top SMS text blasting platform on the internet today. I just want to give you a complete step-by-step tutorial on how to actually start text blasting as a beginner using a service like SMSZach.com. The reason why I want to do this is just show you a revamped version of exactly what SMSZach.com looks like and actually how you can use it to text sellers, do auto drip campaigns, and the quick reply features. SMSZach.com is one of the only SMS platforms that doesn't have any Twilio, no opt-out language. So when I text somebody, it doesn't say press stop to reply all or say stop to stop texting. It's direct from carrier. So when you text a seller, it looks like a legitimate text out here. It's one of the cheapest, most effective skid tracing platforms in wholesaling real estate. So without further ado, let's do the full tutorial on SMSZach.com. I know I've gotten a lot of requests lately how to just do a full breakdown of launch control. And who better to break it all down than Catherine right here, who is a complete expert on SMSZach.com. And what she's going to do is just break exactly through how to text blast with launch control step by step. So Catherine, how's it going?
Zach, going good. Thanks for having me here. And well, it's going to be a pleasure to walk everyone through launch control. Text blasting, kind of not my favorite expression because SMS engagement is much more than that, but I'll be happy to walk you through it today.
Awesome. So let's get through it and let's break it all down.
Right. Let's get going. So, well, I guess you see my screen already. So this is launch control the way it is right now. This is a totally live account, our live environment that we use for onboarding. So it will have all things that we might need for that purpose. Basically, we are currently at our dashboard. So there's a couple of useful KPIs and just the things you want to track to see how successful you are right now with launch control, where are your areas for optimization. I'm going to try to highlight all of those and what you should look for, what you should look at using launch control, right?
Oh, yeah.
So talking about the dashboard, all the stuff that we can see on the dashboard actually is probably going to come from our inbox, which is bottom line the most exciting place in launch, right?
Oh,
so in your inbox, you will be maintaining all of those conversations. And let me tell you something. SMS engagement, whoever replies to my initial message, I'm already treating them as a lead, right? Especially if I'm doing real estate. So as soon as I got the conversation going, as soon as I use that initial text to be the conversation opener, where I want to end up is actually in a live conversation going back and forth and talking about the speed of SMS, the speed of texting, everyone's going to expect a quick reply, right?
Oh, yeah.
We are equipped with quick replies as well, but talking about your inbox, probably the most useful stuff for whether if you're going to be using it or if you're going to have a VA assigned to just maintaining your inbox conversations, which are 70% of your lead gen, pretty promise. That's going to be important. So talking about statuses, there are several statuses that you can assign to your lead. No lead, no prospect should not have a status. Very important practice. So hot and warm, we're very clear on what those are. If we're talking to nurture, there might be a specific situation. Someone might be out of town for a couple of weeks. They will text you back, hey, text me when I'm back, right? So what you want to do is set them on a nurture status, not put them on a drip automation because it's a pretty specific conversation, right? But still, I want to set a reminder for myself 2 weeks down the line. I'll show you how to set reminders as well and assign a nurture status to that lead because they're open for a conversation. Maybe not quite warm yet, but they're getting there, right? So that's a conversation we're having. So you don't want to leave those behind. And I will explain a couple of different cases where the automations are really going to come into play hard and where your lead generation is going to depend on them, right? Zach, by the way, please feel free to stop me if I'm going too fast, if I'm giving too many details. All right. Of course, there's the DNC list. Some numbers, they're going to get sent to auto DNC. Our system is going to recognize the stop words and etc. So they're going to end up on your DNC list. Again, if you want a manual way to add a particular number to your DNC list, you can do that as well. Of course, there are some leads that you're going to assign the not interested status to, and you're not going to continue that conversation from there. Very similar category to DNC, right? However, not that critical, because you're going to see those conversations as well. There's the mission control pane here at the top left, where you will have the real-time live updates of your unread messages, unanswered, of your reminders that are due today, and the messages with no status. My best tip: clean up the no status messages. There's some type of engagement that you can decide on for each and every lead, and if they're not a DNC or not interested, and then treat your reminders seriously. There's a reason you set them. They're unanswered messages. Make sure your answers follow the speed of texting. Replies should land there within the first 2 or 5 minutes from the moment you receive a reply, and you're going to be able to track your average reply time on your dashboard as well. The unread messages, obviously, there should be practically close to none. And very important one: don't send the batches of initial messages if you just don't have the bandwidth to cover them all with quality, timely replies. Because from initial messages, and let's talk about the stats a little bit. Talking about initial messages, your response rates in SMS in general are probably going to vary between 10 and 30%, right?
Yeah.
But then we have the follow-up functionality for non-responders, and we have drip automations where your response rates from the same batch of prospects are practically going to end up depending on your engagement with them, right? So talking about that, let's just open any conversation. Let me see. Okay, let's go for no status. All right, so there's someone that said make an offer, right? So what I want to do, and this is my conversation pane, I opened that conversation, I verified their phone number, obviously got the right person asking about this property. So the next thing I want to know, well, I want to be asking more discovery questions, those post-discovery chats, checking your prospect's motivation, seeing what your buy box is, does it fit their price, just go into the discovery pane and go into Zillow to check this estimate. You got Google Maps too integrated here so that you can take a look around the property, and all the property details and the prospect details laid out here in the discovery pane. You need to verify the phone number to be able to complete a couple of actions. So verification of a phone number is important for several things. First of all, you're going to be saving your daily limits, because there is a cycle of messages going from day 1, day 2, and day 3, because launch control allows you up to 3 prospects, 3 contacts per prospect. So basically 3 phone numbers. So if you recognize the person that you're targeting on day 1, you want to verify that phone number and prevent messages 2 and 3 from going out on day 2 and 3, just going back to your daily limits count and utilizing them for, let's say, some new prospects, etc. Right? So us verifying the phone number, again, pre-qualifies you for 3 different actions. You can push your prospect to your CRM. I advise keeping your CRM clean, having just hot and warm leads in there. Zach, I guess you kind of know the drill. So just
I always say that if until
Yeah.
they say they're interested, they don't even go in the CRM. So, but I love that feature. You know, even if it's like a slight, I just for a VA just push it to the next person. I always do that because sometimes they're kind of like on the edge. Just let one of my people on my acquisitions teams deal with it. But that push to CRM is great for VAs.
Definitely. And also the push to CRM, well, that's what should end up with the acquisition specialist, right? So depending on how everyone's team is structured, someone's going to be a beginner investor. They're just going to be a one-man army juggling between a lot of stuff together, right? Zach, I guess you've been there sometime while starting, right? So that moment of just covering everything, it's going to be important what you want to push to your CRM, because you're not going to have all the time in the world to go back to it and then clean up further from there. So you want to be careful with your segmentation as well. So again, just going back to verification of the phone numbers, pushing to CRM is one action that you need to verify the phone number to complete. Another thing, as we mentioned, reminders. So we can set a note. Let's say Thomas here might be on vacation check in 10 days. And I want to set the message. Thomas, hope you had it great. Okay, got some time to connect today, tomorrow. And I might select the date. Let's say that date can be a couple of weeks down the line, a couple of days. Let's say April 12th. I'll set a reminder. Thanks. Anyway, so back from the reminders. They will show up on the day they're scheduled. So talking about the rest, as we mentioned, you got the discovery pane to see the details, but discovery pane has a couple of pretty useful items that you might be able to use in your CRM as well. So there's a notes section where you can just leave a note. Let's say asking price too high, or you can say property needs repairs, right? So anything you learned from here that your VA might want to transition over to your acquisition specialist as a piece of knowledge they want before going into that conversation over the phone, right? Our end goal, of course, is to get everybody on the phone as soon as possible, but we definitely want to learn their motivation. We want to learn what's their asking price, what are the conditions of that property that they kind of are setting, talking about the asking price. So there's always a follow-up question you can ask as soon as they land in your inbox. That's a conversation to have. And how creative you get in that conversation is what your lead generation is going to depend on. It's not going to depend on, which is a very common malpractice or mistake. It's not going to be based on your initial messages or the number of initial batches you send on a daily basis. That can get you 20% of those immediate deals, let's say. But then the rest is going to be in the follow-up and the quality of it and the creativity and how much are you willing to learn about your prospects on the go, right?
Exactly.
Zach, I don't know what your thoughts on this, but
No, I love it. You know, you got the drip. You have a lot of great scripts you can write, like pretty fast and easy. My favorite part on the texting, I think, if you ever notice this, I mean, as somebody that used to text blast with every software back in the day, I remember using Launch Control when I was like, I think 3 or 4 years ago, when I was like unlimited, and I just go crazy. And then, you know, then the AT&T went nuts and Verizon, and I remember back in the day. Now I've literally looked at every single SMS platform. If you guys see all the initial text out, there's no say stop to get out, or reply back out, stop it. That sucks. And there's no EIN. There's no like Twilio integration, the EIN thing. You just send it out. It looks like legit send it through our phone. And there's no software out there like that. And that's the honest truth. And so that's why it was direct to carrier, right? Is that what the technical term for it? But there's no software like that out there. And that's why it works the best. So that's why I love it.
Thanks, Zach. And well, bottom line, I guess for you as an investor and anyone else listening to this, it's really important to, kind of have your stuff where it should be. Like your deliverability needs to be in the 90s so that you can get your message across, right?
Oh yeah.
If you're using low quality data, if you go to I'm not going to talk about if it's a questionable quality or not kind of a platform, but if it gets me deliverability of 50% for SMS, that's probably not a good indicator, right? Same thing with the response rates. The algorithm that we have in Launch Control is much more sophisticated than just the term text blast, and that's the whole deal. So your initial messages, and maybe we can dive into the content, would just bring up a couple of things here more. There are filters by campaign, by each user operating the account, custom tags that I'll show you how to create. So quite a lot of useful features that will allow you to kind of see the full breakdown. You can add your prospects to DNC here during a convo, set them as wrong number, or utilize the quick replies, which again, we're going to go into the library itself and check out the content. So pretty much that would be our inbox guide. But talking about the templates, and let's just check out how they look like per usual. So here are the merge fields and text spinners. Each message template has 5 message variations within. 4 of those will contain merge fields and text spinners, and the fifth one should practically be a safety net in case any of the fields in your list during import didn't get formatted well. If you have any blank fields, missing data, all that is not going to affect how well does your message come across, basically. So we're avoiding that situation of high first name as a merge field, which would be a clear sign of automation. So in that case, not only are you safe, but the total algorithm that we're using, the negative keywords recognition system, the structure of message templates is really meant to not just give you the variety of messages, but also get your messages delivered and 100% avoid getting them flagged as spam. So
Oh yeah.
we really made sure that is the case. Obviously, there are some other platforms that are going to offer you higher volume for probably less money, much less sophisticated follow-up functionality, and much less of TCPA compliance included. So
You got to be nice when you're talking, but there's platforms out there that are very cheap with the SMS, and I'll just tell you, the people that are sending out thousands every single day, Twilio is actually kicking them off the platform, like banned, like your EIN's banned, and either you spend an extra $200-300 making another LLC and doing that, but you keep getting. Twilio doesn't like it, and I'm just being honest. Like I'm saying this the nice way, but they're a big company, so it's fine. But like I'm not talking about any specific platform, but if you're using a Twilio integration and it's not direct to carrier, they can ban you at any time. And I don't like being told what to do. So if someone said I can't cold call anymore, that'd really upset me. But they do it all the time in SMS. I know 3 guys that are huge that are switching over, and they're like, "What should I do?" I'm like, "Just use launch control because they won't kick you off. They'll actually be okay." And that's the big problem. I know it's not talked about too much, but it's happening all over the place.
of course it is. Like there are industry standards that we all are adjusting to on a daily basis. And I'm definitely not saying everything is perfect regarding our platform. Of course, there are flaws. There's stuff that can be improved. There's stuff that can be fixed. But bottom line, your message is going to get delivered. You're going to be able to go through that 10 DLC registration process, be registered with TCR, not worry about third parties. That absolutely is something we can offer. So having that in mind, Zach, thank you for saying all that, because in all honesty, it is the truth. And of course, not everyone is able to keep up with the quality of requirements made on a very frequent basis, especially in an industry this specific. But what we're really working the hardest on every day is being adjusted to the changes in the industry, changes in the requirements, the situation, and just have everyone have their life easier and be able to market to their prospects and close deals eventually, the ROI, right?
Yeah.
So let's see, initial message builder and the follow-up message builder look exactly the same. So follow-up messages are kind of a sequence of messages. They should sound like a sequence of messages that follow your initial outreach. Why? Because think of it. You probably don't reply to each text you receive on a daily basis, right?
Nope.
Exactly. You personally, with the amount of followers you have, for sure you're going to skip at least 1 or 2 daily, if not more, right?
Oh, yeah.
So that's the same thing that's going to happen with a prospect. The fact they haven't replied to your initial message immediately doesn't mean that they are not going to reply to your follow-up text. Again, you don't want to have that follow-up text come across as, hey, I was John today, I texted you in October, and then in November I'm texting you like nothing happened in October. That nobody wants to see that, right? So what they want to see is, okay, John is still buying in the area, right? So he texted me in October and he is still being persistent and he is still aware of my property in November. So maybe I'm not ready to sell to John today, but something might change, let's say at spring next year, and I'll probably think of that same John to loop back to, rather than just a guy that text blasted me today for the first time inquiring about my property. So that personal touch, those personalized messages and that sequence, that human touch that you kind of want to establish, but you also want to save some time, which is why you use platforms like this. But you want to keep your personality, because your personality is what's going to get you a deal, right?
Oh yeah.
That kind of integrity that you kind of want to impose, and that kind of integrity that you want to present, better to say, I think, is what is going to be crucial. So the whole idea is have your messages sound like a natural sequence rather than one-time initial text blasts. That's not going to convert deals, right?
I
So
agree.
we see 1, 2, 3, 4. The message builder, very straightforward. One of the best practices, keep your character count below 160 characters. First reason, you're going to save quite a lot of your daily limits in your message segments, because everything above gets counted as 2 messages against your daily limits. Another thing very important, on top of saving your daily limits, you are going to get that short and sweet impression that is the essence of SMS. I would be sending emails if I thought that people want to read emails. I don't want
Oh
to,
yeah.
I don't like reading long texts, right? So everything is straightforward, everything is fast, it's quick. You want to just do that. Alternate message, again, safety net. We mentioned it before. There are categories of templates you can choose. There are negative keywords to avoid. My advice, avoid the variations of those as well. And each of your message templates needs a name. Follow-up message should be addressing the non-responders only. There's a functionality in launch control to send a follow-up message to your non-responders 30 days earliest or more after the initial touch. So you cannot be following up closer than 30 days in between the initial and follow-up message. But in case your prospect replies, they're going to be in your inbox, and that's where you're going to utilize manual replies. You're going to use quick replies, which should be built around the variety of situations that you see on a daily basis. Like, Zach, you're probably going to get quite a lot of people asking, who is this? Right?
Oh yeah.
So that classic, you don't want to waste time retyping each and every answer, right? So what you want to do is, okay, create a new category, neutral. I'm going to save it. Who is this? And then, hey, you can use the merge field. This is, then Zach, local investor buying in the area, got some time to chat today. I'm obviously no copywriter, Zach.
Yeah.
But you kind of got the point. So save the quick reply, and you're going to have it available in your inbox in that conversation pane. Going back to it, here it is, quick replies. So who are you? Someone asked, what's
Perfect.
your name? This is how I'm going to use it. Hit send, and that conversation can proceed further. We went through the message templates, but there's another thing. So there's kind of something that I call the holy trinity of launch, right? That's the content, that's creating a campaign, and that's the import menu. So talking about imports, very straightforward, probably the most simple part of the UI. You get a list, all the prospect details in it. You can download our sample import file by clicking here. And you can drag and drop a file from your device, just import an XLSX file or a CSV one, no matter, each will go through. And just give it a couple of minutes, moments, depending on the size of your list. Let's say the best practices about your list segmentation before you actually get the breakdown of total rows, prospects, mobiles, landlines. There's also the litigator scrub, keeping you safe from predatory litigators. And there is the DNC database that we have. Again, it would not be bad to, just scrub your list against the national DNC before importing. Once again, that would be an extra step, but why not? Better safe than sorry. Existing matches are going to get filtered out. So practical launch control is going to prevent you from texting any duplicates. Totally compliant. Again, our primary focus, date of creation, and you can download the original list. You can download all contacts, landlines only. If you want to do a cold calling campaign on top, you're going to have those filtered out and kind of segmented out. The list can be assigned to a campaign. And let me just take you, again, you can use different skip trace services. I'm pretty sure there are a couple of them familiar to everyone. We have our own skip tracing system as well. So basically, we work with several premium skip trace services. We guarantee for their results. Bottom line, even if you don't skip through launch, good data is really half of your deal. So make sure your data is on point. Zach, I guess your experience would say the same thing.
Oh yeah.
Right. And then we got the campaigns. So a campaign is a folder with all your prospects. List segmentation tips. No list should be larger than 5, 6, 10K prospects tops.
Yeah.
My advice, segment your lists by any criteria that you find worth defining in your business. If you are targeting, let's say, seniors, if you are targeting vacant properties, your list should probably have it be named the same way. Again, segmented by urgency, very important. There are some campaigns that you want to run sooner rather than later. There are some campaigns you're going to want to take your time with it. My idea, don't have those prospects joined within one list. It's going to be much easier for you, and you're going to have much prettier KPIs if you actually segment stuff out before you get them into launch.
I agree.
Thank you. And yeah, creating a new campaign. Here it is. This is creating an initial campaign. So say this one, I can select the market, and the call forwarding number will be pre-populated. So you save the campaign, and you got that campaign ready here. So you can assign a list that you just imported to it. So I created this one. Going back to the import menu, clicking on assign to campaign and hitting the green button. So this list will soon be assigned to that Zach test campaign that we created. Yes. And we got the message template library already full in this account. Again, options are always to purchase templates from our copywriting team, build them on your own. Our success team is always going to be there to help you, to share the practices, to go on totally free of charge strategy calls with you on Zoom, and they're always going to make time for that. So my team practically is their dedicated managers assigned to each and every one of our customers. So each same level of services provided to everyone to keep the long story short. Then you go to batches. So you got your import ready, your data is in, you created a campaign, you assigned the list to a campaign, and you got your content ready, the language that you're going to use talking to your prospect. So we go to batches, and we go to create a new batch. So let's say I want to text this list, choosing a campaign, 3 easy steps, choosing the message template, the approach, and selecting the batch size. Batch size by default is either 50, 100, or 150 prospects. I select batch creation, and as you see, I chose the largest sample. I would say that the larger batches give you more accurate stats, especially if a couple of phone numbers get bounced, they don't get delivered. That can happen depending on your list source. So have that in mind as well.
Yeah.
And also, yeah, this is how an incomplete batch looks like. So the only manual process that your VA or you utilize in Launch Control got to do on a daily basis is get your data and content in order, get it assigned to a campaign, and go to batch creation. So depending on the volume and the number of markets that you want to hit on a daily basis, that's how many batches you will send. For each batch of 150 prospects, it will take you only a minute of clicking through, sending a message. This is a very common question that I get, cannot be automated so that we can stay fully compliant as well. But it's kind of 2 minutes to reach out to a much larger number of people than you would reach out through cold call and right through the same amount of time. Again, just talking about Zach, you mentioned cold calling. It's totally not a bad practice to just do that lean type of marketing. No matter if you're doing email, if you are cold calling, if you're doing PPC, you're probably going to have some leads left behind and some leads for re-engagement within your CRM. So what you can do is take it vice versa. Take the leads where your conversations died out through other marketing channels, import them into Launch Control. do that type of re-engagement, first through initial, then through drip messages. It can really go multiple ways, but the bottom line idea is squeezing out as many deals as possible from the same amount of prospects, right?
Exactly. That's what we like doing. So if it's either way we do it, I like to do the reverse drawing for dollars where we'll put the sticky note on the property. All the calls we get in, those are fine. And then the calls we don't get back, we'll probably call them or text them, probably call them. And the people that don't even answer that call, it's probably 20% of the entire lead list. Then we hit them with the text and then probably get a quarter of those people. And so it's kind of it's a
Sounds
drip.
good.
And then we got other ones where it's like, just do all the high equities and go crazy with texting. Right. So it's all over the place, which ones we like to do, but I love doing that too. Like one big thing too is like, I might try to text an entire list and then I'll cold call because cold calling sucks compared to SMS when it comes to the amount of time and effort and stuff like that. And like all the landlines, I'll just have a VA call it. And there's a million ways to skin the cat there, but it's great.
Absolutely. And I couldn't agree more. And it's always really, it's not just which platform you're going to use, it's how you organize and structure your business and where your team's focus is. So couldn't agree more. Thanks, Zach. Let's see. Okay, so these are some batches. Obviously, a lot of them are test
Yeah.
batches, small amount of prospects. You're going to see some skewed stats. But bottom line, in your batch menu, you're going to see the user that sent the messages, the name of your campaign, the date sent, deliverability or response, the template that you used, and if the batch was completed. Again, each message template can be utilized for 300 messages or less. Again, for compliance reasons, to keep your variety of messages, to keep your deliverability of high to the standard, which is 90 plus for us. That is all something that I would put my focus on. Talking about drip automations, they're a very flexible sequence of messages that you want to utilize for warm leads, for post discovery chats, for just those simple no's that you get because people get afraid, they get kind of taken aback a little bit. They're like, someone said no. That is completely fine, and you were just inquiring about their property rights. So you're not doing any soliciting. You are free to send an inquiry, and even if you get a no, there's always a chance to say a polite thank you back and to set that prospect on a drip so that you can re-engage a couple of months down the line, whether it's a month or three. There's so many circumstances that can change. Someone might get a divorce. Someone might move out of state to be closer to their grandkids. Someone is going to move out of their, parents' house. There's just so many situations where things are going to change within a span of months, and you just want to be the first person there and not have anyone else take over that conversation that you started a couple of months back, and now you have a chance to bring it to a closer. So that's what you want to do through drips. Same thing. Someone said a yes, then got too busy. It was a work week. They have ghosted me for a day or two. I want to put them on a drip starting tomorrow. So I want them to receive my first re-engagement message. Again, not wasting my time and opening more conversations, generating more leads. It's like a positive snowball effect, if I make sense. So talking about that, creating drips. They need a name. You want to choose the number of days you want to set in between, and the sequence of messages should not have less than 3 or 4 messages, but you can extend it up to 10 messages or more. You can extend a drip into, let's say, up to a year. Totally can customize out the touch points in between, the timing, and just the purpose of a drip sequence. Whether it's you not knowing enough about the property, you want to set the same prospects on that drip automation. And this is a drip library, but just going from the templates back to our inbox, how we set a drip up is just 2 easy steps. So I showed you got to verify your phone numbers to be able to push the CRM and to be able to set a reminder. But another thing that you want to do is verify the phone number so that you're able to select the drip status, not ready to sell deal automation. As you see, 10 messages in a sequence ending with 270 days. And I want to select this drip message to go out to this prospect starting in, let's say, 30 days and more. That's about it. Talking about our follow-up campaigns. So going back to our campaigns menu, how to set up that follow-up for non-responders. Right next to creating a new initial campaign, you can create a follow-up campaign. So your list is already in, prospects already assigned to a market. We can see how many prospects. Obviously, our test account is showing us a low number. But here, what I see in practice are thousands of prospects left behind that no one tried to retarget, especially when I'm looking for common mistakes within the accounts. So what I want to look at is, okay, selecting the campaign, the market's going to be pre-populated. I'm going to choose the month without response. There's going to be an automated follow-up title, but you can rename it to your liking. You're going to save this campaign, and sending the batches is going to look exactly the same like sending initial messages. So same builder, same content structure, just a different stage of your conversation with a prospect. Meaning I'm going to select a campaign here, and I'm going to choose a message template. Follow-up message templates, that's how it's coded in, are going to go only with follow-up batches, initial message template with initial batches. So we kind of are reinforcing those best practices of a sequence of messages through the platform as well. Choosing the batch size. Obviously, if you have a batch this small with some leftovers, that's the only size that you will get offered. Otherwise, it's going to be a default 50, 100, or 150. Create a batch, same sending procedure, a minute or two of your time or your VA's time, and you're on. You're going to be getting those replies back in your inbox, where you want to start looking at the average reply time on your dashboard. You're going to see the number of active conversations. Your average reply time should be as low as possible. Your average response rate is going to be normally between 10 and 30 for follow-up batches. Having in mind those were non-responders to start with, you might expect some lower stats. Deliverability, usually 90 plus. Everything above 85 is considered fine for initial messages. The lead breakdown here, you got some filters, daily, weekly, monthly, and you will be able to see your lead breakdown here: hot and warm, nurture, drip, and any messages left over with no status that you might want to tend to. You're going to see your upcoming drips, scheduled ones, and your top drip automations talking about how successful they are. Text and lead activity breakdown, top 3 campaigns, whether initial or follow-up, and the what's on your plate pane is basically a copy of this same mission control feature up left that is going to show you your live updates. Your daily message limit and monthly message limit can be tracked here at the top right. My profile, a couple of important things. You probably want to use the abbreviation of your company name to save some characters. You want to have your time zone set to your primary market, so make sure that your time zone is set before saving, because you want to get the real time prints and you probably don't want any mess there. In general, the only area that we yet need to address is how to get more resources once signed up for launch, and just a couple of items in the settings. Zach, should I proceed?
Oh, yeah.
All right. So talking about settings, user seats to your account. The number of user seats is going to depend on the plan you're on, the number of free user seats as well. But basically, each team member that you have can have a role assigned, and you will have a very clear breakdown of who sent what and when, and just have more, let's say, specific KPIs as each business owner needs. Talking about creating a new user, very easy. Adding a name and last name, the alias, rep name and company name, email address, phone number that you want tied to them, and just keep all these boxes ticked so they can receive the setup email to their to theirs. Then you save those settings and your user is ready to set up their login information. Talking about markets and limits, there's going to be different limits per plans. I guess not to go too much into pricing, that kind of stuff. The DNC list, as I mentioned, you can export your DNCs or you can create a new one, saving it, and that's 2 easy steps to keep yourself safe at any moment. Export and prospects, we got a pretty cool exporting feature, I would say. So we got the breakdown per campaigns, lead statuses. You can export by custom tags, so you can combine some of these filters. For example, I want to see only my high equity New Jersey campaign, only hot and warm leads that have a buyer tag. Maybe I'm targeting buyers, so I want to do that and choose my custom dates and get my export results to my admin email. So all that is done in this menu. You click on the export results, you get a download, and you get an email as well. Talking about tags, depending on any custom KPIs, any detailed breakdown that you need, any further segmentation you want to do with your leads after signing up, after segmenting your lists and your content and your naming structure of your campaigns. The other thing that you might want to do is sift through those prospects by some new criteria that the conversations you're having with them might set, right? So what you can do is go to settings, go to tags, click on add new tag, and I can choose tag name, color of it, and save that tag. Okay, so there's too many tags created in my test account. My CS team keeps going, so unable to create any more because they exceeded the limit, but you get the drill.
Yeah.
I guess that's all about launch control that I could squeeze into 45 minutes. I could go on for days.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great platform. It can go on and on forever. But Catherine, I really appreciate you coming on and actually sharing exactly the entire platform from start to finish. Remember, if you do want to hop on, just join it. Just go to smszac.com. Pretty easy, pretty simple. That's where it's at. But really appreciate you hopping on and sharing it today.
Thanks, Zach. Appreciate you having me here. You're doing something awesome. Always happy to back that up. And well, pleasure to meet you.
Awesome. Appreciate it, guys. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and we'll see you soon. Awesome.